This is IGN. Seth Rogen mixes Hollywood glamour and dumb fun in an amusing, eye-catching comedy. This is your IGN review of The Studio by Eric Adams. The Studio is a comedic perpetual motion machine, its freewheeling nature disguising the intricacies within. But it took me a few minutes to catch on to the distinctive style that conveys its constant stream of industry insider jokes. As movie studio executive Matt Remick, played by Seth Rogen, takes a golf cart ride from a wintry film set to the visually stunning offices of the fictional Continental Studios, the entire trek is captured in a single unbroken shot. When Matt finishes discussing the sorry state of the film industry with his assistant, he segues seamlessly into a walk and talk that ends with the camera gliding up and over a balcony. They can't keep this up for the entire episode, I thought. They can, in fact, and they do, in a move that becomes an impressive, if occasionally exhausting visual signature of Rogen's new Apple TV Plus series. These extended takes are strung together to create the ideal, energized atmosphere in which the dreamweavers and bean counters of Continental Studios can solve problems on the fly and or spin out in the attempt, which Matt does a lot of the latter, sometimes to the detriment of the laugh count. And the studio's director, cinematographer, and editor can achieve some feats of comic daring-do. Rogen and his co-creators conjure the glamour of the Golden Age masters, shoot it with the "you are there" verve of the new Hollywood upstarts who replace them, and then play everything at the pitch of a vintage Looney Tunes short. It doesn't always work, but when it does, it makes for some astonishing TV comedy. One place where it struggles is building out its ensemble. Matt's fears about the future of film and his worries about tarnishing the Continental name shape so much of the studio's point of view that it's hard to get a read on any other character. The main players at Continental all tend toward a wishy-washy kind of people-pleasing, and their cutthroat standard operating procedure means they're always poised to throw a colleague under the bus. The ensemble works well together as a whole, though, especially when they're in a high-stakes pickle and throwing boneheaded solutions at it. I'll grant you that there might be less appeal for such an insidery show to the average Apple TV Plus subscriber who hasn't spent much time following the behind-the-scenes dramas of the film industry than there is for someone who writes about it for a living. But for all its insider lingo and flashy film nerd technique, the studio makes its pitch to prospective viewers directly and earnestly. Movies mean something. They bring people together. They may not be as important as, say, the most recent developments in fighting pediatric cancer, but that doesn't stop Matt from insisting as much in the episode where he spends most of the time with a foot stuck in his mouth. But they have some importance, and the studio makes a strong argument that their history and legacy is worth preserving and perpetuating, whether it's by showing Goodfellas to someone who's never seen it before, or by watching a goofy Seth Rogen show painstakingly stage an homage to one of Goodfellas' defining shots. In an idealized world of the Continental backlot, we see the Hollywood that never really was, but that Matt believes it could be. A Fantasyland workplace where it's hard to take your troubles too seriously because you're always eating lunch next to chorus girls in feathered headdresses and dodging giant props on your way to meetings. Also, this is a very, very funny show, and for that reason alone, it's worth checking out. Seth Rogen is a klutzy king of the showbiz mountain in the studio, an Apple TV Plus comedy with an ambitious, sometimes tiring gimmick. Its episodes are made up of impressively long, continuous shots that create some interesting opportunities for joke-telling, tension ratcheting, and bravura filmmaking. As a satire of contemporary Hollywood, it's relatively tame, directing its harshest burns at encroaching tech companies and their streaming platforms while waxing poetic about the glory days of the movie business. But as a goofy comedy with some of the sharpest visual style you'll see on any TV show, it's a good use of one streaming platform's money. And while the crew at the fictional Continental Studios lacks some chops on an individual basis, as a team, they're a laugh riot. The studio's IGN score? 7 out of 10. Thanks for listening to IGN. My name is Tony Jackson, and for the latest updates on the studio, visit us at IGN.com.
Spoken Layer.